This guy's name is Luke. He's a rogue golden immortal who'd been cultivating up in the celestial realm for hundreds of thousands of years. Right now, he's trying to break through to true immortal for the third time. If he makes it this time, he'll become a true immortal elder that all the other immortals bow down to. But if he fails, let's just say the consequences aren't pretty. For this breakthrough, Luke had thrown everything he had into it. He'd even borrowed a huge chunk of spirit stones from a bank up in the celestial realm. A voice reminded him that his principal was 10 million stones, but after compound interest, the total had ballooned to 73 million, payable over 24,000 years. Luke demanded to know if the interest rate was even legal in the celestial realm. The other guy couldn't care less. He told Luke that he'd borrowed before and his credit was crap. The only reason they'd even lent him the money was out of old time's sake. If he didn't like it, plenty of others would take the deal. Luke had no choice. He gritted his teeth and signed. He got the stones and started going all out breakthrough. Dark clouds gathered overhead. The lightning tribulation was coming. But right in the middle of his cultivation, an old man suddenly showed up. This guy was the owner of that celestial bank. He smirked and said Luke was way over his head, dreaming of becoming a true immortal. His real plan, after Luke failed his tribulation, he'd snatch his soul, turn him into a slave, and make him pay off his debts for all eternity. Luke's breakthrough failed. His body turned to ash in the lightning. The old man reached out to grab his soul, but came up empty. That's when it hit him. Luke had seen this coming all along. He'd rather reincarnate as a mortal than become some slave. The old man cursed Luke for being so slippery, but there was nothing he could do. He could only watch Luke's soul slip into the cycle of rebirth. When Luke opened his eyes again, he found himself lying in a strange room. He'd made it. He was reborn in the mortal world. Sure, he hadn't broken through to true immortal, but he'd used that trick to dodge becoming a blood slave. He checked out his new body. Turns out the original owner was also named Luke. And get this, the guy had also been killed over some high-interest debt. Luke accepted it. He was here now, so he'd make the best of it. He started sensing the spiritual energy in this world. It was thin, sure, but better than nothing. Good enough for a mortal cultivator. He found a fancy little gadget in his pocket called a phone, and right then it rang. A woman's voice came through, all fired up. She demanded to know if he'd been out gambling again, gone for days, and that a girl named Chloe was worried sick. Luke asked who Chloe was. That just made her angrier. She yelled at him, asking if he was drunk and didn't even remember his own wife. The word wife triggered a flood of memories. Turns out this mortal Luke was a total lowlife, a gambling addict and a deadbeat, and somehow he had a gorgeous wife. While Luke was still processing all this, someone started pounding on the door. Two guys barged in. They were there to collect on the original Luke's debts. Chloe stepped in front of them, signing with her hands, almost like she was begging. One of the guys said, of course, they were there to get the money from this piece of garbage Luke. Chloe signed, asking how much he owed. Luke checked the original loan agreement. Principal was 50,000, interest over 20,000, total around 70-something thousand. But the debt collector just laughed like it was a joke. He told Luke if he didn't have 500,000 today, things would get ugly. Then a middle-aged man walked over. He was the owner of this antique street. People called him Mr. Stone. He barked at the two guys, demanding to know what they were doing on his turf. The collector wasn't scared. He said since Mr. Stone and their boss Tiger had already fallen out, they had nothing to lose. Might as well tell him Tiger had his eyes on this whole street. Mr. Stone's face darkened. He called over his men, ready to teach these punks a lesson. But then Luke stepped up. He said this was their problem, no need to trouble Mr. Stone. The collector laughed, asking if Luke had gotten his head bashed in one too many times. Luke ignored him. He turned to one of the guys and told him to teach the other blind fool a lesson. The guy was stunned. What was Luke talking about? Back home, Luke looked at Chloe, the original owner's wife. She signed to him that dinner was ready, told him to eat. Luke looked at the food on the table, didn't have much of an appetite. He noticed Chloe was eating by herself in the kitchen, so he called her over. She looked scared and hesitant, but he insisted. She finally sat down. Luke noticed she was only eating plain rice and a little greens. She didn't touch any of the meat. He picked up some veggies, tasted pretty good actually, but he didn't get why she only ate that. He signed, asking her. She signed back that she was only eating one meal today. She definitely wouldn't eat too much. Another wave of memories hit him. That rotten jerk of an original Luke never let Chloe eat at the table. If the food wasn't to his liking, he'd beat her and yell at her and make her eat leftovers in the kitchen. Luke felt a surge of anger. This guy was a complete scumbag. His own wife treated worse than a servant. He picked up a piece of meat and put it in Chloe's bowl, telling her to eat more. Chloe froze. Her eyes instantly turned red. Luke thought maybe she didn't have enough rice, so he stood up to get her more. She grabbed his arm and tears started falling. Luke sighed inwardly. A wife like this, what more could a man ask for? The original was a fool who didn't know how good he had it. Good riddance. Since fate had brought him here, he decided he'd live this mortal life to the fullest, and he'd start with this marriage. Just then, shouting came from outside again. Two of the original Luke's loser buddies here to drag him to the casino. They burst in, complaining they were broke and telling Luke to cough up some cash. They saw Chloe and casually ordered her to get the money. Chloe shrank back behind Luke. When she didn't move, one of them stepped toward her. Luke's eyes went cold. He looked at these two guys' dull eyes, dark rings under them. He could tell they were due for some bad luck real soon. He told them maybe the casino wasn't such a great idea. They wouldn't listen. They started cursing and pushing Chloe to bring the money. Chloe brought out all the savings she had. The guy sneered, saying it was pocket change. He reached out to shove Chloe. Luke had enough. He shot forward and slapped the guy across the face so hard he hit the floor. The other one froze in shock. Luke gave them a cold warning. Hitting him was the easy part. If they ever laid a hand on his wife again, it wouldn't be just a slap. The two of them were terrified. They scrambled out the door. After they were gone, Luke turned around and saw Chloe looking at him with tear-filled eyes. He asked if she was scared. She shook her head. She handed him what little money she had and signed that this was all they had, but she'd keep painting to earn more. Luke noticed the paintings on the wall. He walked over and took a closer look. They were good landscapes with real depth and feeling. Pretty impressive for the mortal world. He praised her skill. Chloe stared at him. She signed that he'd never complimented her before. He seemed different today. Luke told her she'd understand soon enough. He pushed the money back and signed that he was a man. From today on, he'd make the money and take care of them. The next day, their landlady Aunt Fanny showed up for rent. She laid into Luke, calling him a shameless gambling addict and saying how hard Chloe worked. She demanded he pay up for 6 months of back rent. Luke looked at this tough-talking woman who clearly cared about Chloe. He had an idea. He grabbed a metal spoon from the kitchen and right in front of her, his hand glowed faintly. The spoon spoon turned into gold. He handed it to her and asked if this would cover the rent. At first, Aunt Fanny thought he was trying to pull a fast one with some cheap trick. She pulled out her own gold necklace and said that was real gold. Even Chloe thought he was bluffing and signed for him to stop. But Aunt Fanny bit the spoon. A clear tooth mark appeared. She was floored. It was actual gold. She asked where he got it. Did he steal it? Luke calmly told her she could call the cops if she didn't believe him. Aunt Fanny looked at the spoon, did some mental math. It was worth more than the rent with some left over. Luke told her to keep the extra as thanks for looking out for his wife. She was suspicious, but in the end, she handed the spoon back and said she'd give him another month. He could pay in cash then. After she left, Chloe signed to ask if the spoon was really gold. Luke told her Aunt Fanny was too sharp to be fooled by a fake. She asked where he got it. He made up a quick lie, said he won first prize in a lottery. Chloe's eyes welled up again. Luke was confused. She signed that she was just so happy he didn't take the spoon to gamble. He promised her no more gambling ever. That just made her cry harder. Luke looked at this kind girl and made up his mind to heal her. He checked her condition. She'd lost her voice from an illness when she was little. One wind spirit pill would fix her right up. But the ingredients were hard to come by in the mortal world and expensive too. Making money was priority number one. He told Chloe he had to go out and would be back by 10. She signed, asking if he was reporting in to her. Luke smiled and said something like that. His phone rang. It was his buddy Roy. Roy was complaining, saying Luke promised to come for a job interview at the Antique Street and hadn't shown up yet. Was he flaking again? Chloe heard and signed encouragingly, saying Roy was trying to help and he should go. Luke agreed and hung up. Chloe brought out some money and handed it to him for the interview. Luke was touched, but he knew the whole job interview thing was just cover. He had a faster way to make money. Luke arrived at the Antique Street. It was packed. One stall in particular was surrounded by people. They were doing something called stone gambling. They cut open an ugly rock and revealed bright green jade. The value instantly shot up dozens of times. Luke smiled. Where else could he make quick cash faster than here? He didn't know the first thing about stone gambling, but he had his celestial senses. He could see right through the rocks. He walked up to a stall where the owner was bragging about how all his stones were top quality. Luke asked him if gambling on stones just meant cutting them open to see if there's green inside and how much. The seller could tell he was a newbie and happily invited him to try one. Luke activated his senses and scanned all the rocks on the table. They turned transparent in his eyes. He could see everything inside. Most were just plain rock. Only a few had bits of jade inside. He walked over to a basket of scraps. Each stone cost just $200. Some well-meaning bystander warned him these were all rejects. The seller was trying to rip him off. Luke didn't care. He picked up an ugly rock from the basket and told the seller he wanted that one. Even the seller hesitated and told him to pick something else. Luke insisted. He paid and had it cut open. One slice and a blinding green light burst out. Everyone's jaws dropped. That worthless reject had produced top-grade jade. Someone offered $2 million on the spot. That's when Mr. Stone walked over. He saw the stone and his eyes lit up with appreciation. But Luke did something that shocked everyone. He gave that $2 million rock to Mr. Stone, said it was fate that they met. Mr. Stone was dumbfounded. He looked at this ordinary young man and felt like he was staring into a deep, endless lake. He didn't accept the gift, but invited Luke to his shop to talk. At Mr. Stone's shop, Luke met his friend Roy. Turns out Roy worked there. Mr. Stone realized that must be how Luke knew about his medical condition, and he gave Roy a look. Roy panicked and swore he'd never told anyone. Luke spoke up. He told Mr. Stone he knew because he understood alchemy. He pointed out that the longevity pill Mr. Stone had been taking, its ingredients looked fine on paper, but the way it was made was sloppy and impure. Long-term use would cause serious heart problems, even kill him. Mr. Stone was shocked. He had been feeling chest pain lately. That pill was from Dr. Gu, a famous healer in Jiangsu City. Rich folks lined up to get one. Luke said either Dr. Gu was an idiot or he was trying to kill Mr. Stone. To prove it, he picked up one of the pills, rubbed it in his hands, and infused it with a little spiritual energy. He told Mr. Stone he'd changed the pill's properties. It was still a low-grade mortal pill, but now it was much better for health and had no side effects. It would work in 3 days. In exchange, he needed Mr. Stone to find him 3 rare herbs, each 2 ounces. They were incredibly hard to get, worth tens of thousands per gram, but Mr. Stone agreed without hesitation, saying Luke could pick them up the next day for free, just as a gesture of friendship. The next day, Roy found Luke all excited. Mr. Stone had sent over all the herbs plus a bank card with $2 million payment for the jade. Roy asked, completely blown away, had Luke really made that pill with his bare hands? Luke just said it was nothing. He handed Roy the card and told him to rent a shop on the Antique Street. They were opening a store. Roy would be the manager handling the cash. They'd split the profits 50-50. Roy was speechless. He asked what they were selling. Luke said some health pills of his own making. Roy worried about Dr. Gu's monopoly in the city. Luke smiled and said once their pills hit the market, whoever that god was, they'd expose him for what he really was. With all the ingredients in hand, Luke immediately started making the wind spirit pill. When it was done, he brought it home to Chloe. She looked at it nervously and signed, asking if he was ashamed of her being mute. Luke gently told her she'd accepted him even as a gambling addict. How could he ever be ashamed of her? He promised that no matter what, she was his wife. Chloe was deeply moved. Her hands trembling, she swallowed the pill. The medicine kicked in. She felt hot all over her throat on fire. Luke was ready and gave her some spiritual water to drink. She felt better. He encouraged her to try speaking, say his name. She opened her mouth and managed a raspy sound. Luke, then she said his whole name. She touched her throat in disbelief. She could really talk. Luke held her and told her yes, she could finally speak. Meanwhile, across the city, the gang boss Tiger was furious. He'd sent men to rough up Luke and thought they'd killed him. Now they reported Luke was not only alive, but doing just fine. Something felt off. Dr. Gu showed up. He and Tiger were in cahoots. Tiger had Gu poisoned Mr. Stone so he could take over the Antique Street. Gu assured him that old man was done for. Tiger warned him that if Mr. Stone wasn't dead by next month, it'd be Gu who was done. Luke and Chloe's pharmacy, Zixintang New Life Hall, was soon finished. Chloe came up with the name. It meant turning over a new leaf, starting fresh. Roy was thrilled to hear Chloe speaking. He told Luke that Mr. Stone had given them a prime shop spot at a discount and hooked them up with the best suppliers and distribution channels. Everything was ready. They just needed Luke's formulas. Luke got to work and wrote out 18 prescriptions on the spot, everything from injury remedies to vitality boosters. He categorized them by value into 3 grades: human elixirs, earth elixirs, and heaven elixirs. elixirs. Opening day was a big deal. Roy, as the manager, explained their philosophy and announced a 20% discount on everything. When Luke spoke, he promised the crowd that every medicine sold at Zix and Tang was guaranteed effective, 0 issues, or he'd refund 10 times the price. Then Dr. Gu showed up with his disciples. He started sneering, saying Luke had a big mouth. Mr. Stone was there too. Gu saw him and got bolder, openly asking why Mr. Stone had stopped taking his pills for some kid's stuff. He accused Luke of being a con artist who'd swindled Mr. Stone out of money for the shop. Luke shot back that his money came from Stone gambling fair and square. Gu said that was just another scam. Luke got angry. He pointed at Gu and called him an old thief playing the victim. He challenged Gu to a public showdown, just one question of basic medical knowledge. If Gu could answer it, Luke would apologize on the spot and close his shop. Gu had been a doctor for 30 years, no way some kid could stump him. He agreed. Luke asked him in that longevity pill he'd sold Mr. Stone for a fortune was the 3-legged toad ingredient actually toad venom. Gu said yes without thinking. Luke immediately shot back it wasn't toad venom, it was poison toad innards. Long-term use would kill you. Gu panicked and denied it. Luke told them to get the pill tested, the truth would come out. Mr. Stone's face went dark. He demanded an explanation. Gu stammered, saying it was a mistake. Luke went on, he pointed out that Gu was sick himself, dull eyes, sickly complexion, hair falling out. Everyone looked at Gu's thick head of hair. Luke smirked, stepped forward and ripped off Gu's wig, revealing a bald head. The crowd burst out laughing. Gu was exposed. His disciples tried to attack, but Mr. Stone's bodyguard Quinn took them out instantly. Gu begged Mr. Stone for mercy. Mr. Stone had him taken away for a chat. After that, Zix and Tang's reputation was made. People were blown away by Luke's skills and flooded the shop. Business was booming. Mr. Stone became a regular. He spent 15 million on 4 of Luke's heaven elixirs. Not only did they heal him, but his hair turned black again and he looked a decade younger. He introduced Luke to more important people and they all became loyal customers. The shop's daily revenue hit tens of thousands easy. Roy was giddy, saying he'd become a millionaire and find a wife soon. But trouble followed. Tiger heard Luke had messed up his plans and sent 2 thugs to trash the shop. Luke told Roy to handle it. Roy was scared, but remembering the special super pill Luke had given him, he mustered his courage. Unbelievably, the usually scrawny Roy took down both bruisers with a few punches and kicks. He couldn't believe it. He felt like a superhero. The pill Luke gave him not only boosted health, but temporarily unlocked human potential. Soon, Tiger himself showed up with his crew. He'd been wanting to get rid of Mr. Stone and take over the antique street. Now with Luke in the picture, he decided to settle both scores at once. His men rushed in. Luke just stood there, a powerful invisible force radiating from him. The thugs were sent flying. Tiger was terrified. He attacked Luke personally, throwing a punch. Luke caught his fist with just 2 fingers. No matter how hard Tiger tried, he couldn't move. Luke said calmly that he'd already sealed his own fate. With a slight squeeze, Tiger's arm cracked. The mob boss fell to his knees in pain, realizing he'd picked a fight with someone way out of his league. With all that settled, Luke's life finally found its rhythm. He took Chloe to a calligraphy shop called Wenjai Tang. Chloe wanted a new brush, but it was too pricey. Luke spotted a Qing Dynasty Imperial brush priced at 500,000. The owner's son dismissed them as riffraff. Luke picked up the brush, didn't even dip it in ink, and wrote a character on paper. The son mocked him for not knowing calligraphy, but Luke said the brush was fake. The owner, who knew his stuff, examined it and found the flaw. Luke pointed out that while the forgery was good, the gold detailing on the handle differed from authentic Qing Imperial craftsmanship. The owner was amazed. To thank Luke for saving his shop's reputation, he sold the brush to Luke for a mere 500. Later, the son sprinkled gold leaf over the character Luke had written, and the word appeared in gold. Luke had used a technique called empty brush mark. His calligraphy skill was nearly divine. The owner realized he'd gotten a masterpiece in exchange for a worthless fake he'd made out like a bandit. Chloe got her dream brush. She was happy as a kid. It was the first gift Luke had ever given her, and she was overjoyed. Luke looked at his wife and felt a sense of contentment he'd never known before. He'd been a golden immortal, always chasing enlightenment, never experiencing joy this simple, this real. Maybe this failed tribulation wasn't a disaster, it was a new beginning. He'd gained wealth and status, sure, but more importantly, he'd found a home and someone worth protecting forever. He took Chloe's hand and they walked together into the sunset. There was plenty of time ahead.